was a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong and occasionally crashed and took you to your desktop. This is Comrade. No, this is Cossacks 3. God damn it, Ben. It's from GSC Game World. It's on an in-house quote-unquote lightweight engine. You can pick it up for around 20 of your local wet stinky currency. What is it? Cossacks 3 is the rare combination of war, economy, army, developing, building, and upgrading that couldn't be found in any game for the last 15 years. This deep RTS gameplay will return all old fans in the golden ages of the genre and give newcomers a unique experience. That is a sentence. Devs did send us some keys for that. They wanted some commentary on how it ran on Linux. Oh, we're going to give it to them in the CHAIRQUISITION. One chair means that's crap. 2 chairs means meh. 3 chairs means pretty good. 4 chairs is not appearing in this review. We also got our categories of Doom mixed with the working shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. Ven, I hear you had a really, really painless time launching Cossacks.
It was kind of brilliant over here on the Ubuntu 1604 LTS. 8150 powered, 980 displayed at the UHDs, which I didn't even fucking attempt with this game, son. Not in a chance. First thought, man, straight back to the Chappelle show, kind of scratching my chin going, y'all got any more of them threads? Because this does that beautiful thing that a lot of developers like to do. That's relying on hyper-threading, because 2 threads, that's the best I can do. I mean, you absolutely guessed it. That's exactly what it maxes out at 100%. Both of the 8150 clocked at 4 gigajoules. Just 2 threads, just sitting there, 100%. It doesn't run that great either. You can get away with that when the game runs really good. This wouldn't be a problem if the game didn't absolutely turn into a damn chugfest every time you were just panning around the map, which it absolutely does, or cause your units to completely become unresponsive to where you think the game might have froze, but we'll get into that in more detail later. And it didn't. It was just braining on something, then the units would start to go around. And before I forget, I want to mention this. It doesn't capture your gerbil input. So you genuinely are using the keyboard to do your panning around the map, because if separate X screens, I have 3 separate X screens here. If I go off to the right and the cursor goes, it just starts flipping the hell out, and I end up in a corner of a map that sometimes the game doesn't even recognize. It's kind of fun. But ultimately, at the end of the day, take that shot. None of this matters. No. Not a bit of it. Because this motherfucker locks up every 30 minutes. Doesn't hard lock the box. But you gotta Alt-Tab and kill it. Put it out of its misery. Just means it doesn't work. Won't you?
Well, I didn't have some of these issues when I need to put on that.
Party foul.
Ow, my face. Oh no. My giant Cybermen ears. Whatever will I do? I can't find my earbuds. Fuck it! Yeah, so I started up this game. I get this lovely nondescript error message. Access denied. So I go on the Googles. I say, hey, guys, what does this mean? Oh, apparently I need to disable user account control, right-click, and run as administrator. Great, this is for Windows. And then it occurred to me, hey, let's maybe switch SE Linux to permissive, because this guy demands some executable heap memory, and if you just want to have your heap memory executable, you're opening yourself up for a whole mess of wonderful, wonderful exploits that you would probably rather not have. Either way, setting SE Linux in permissive mode or enabling that policy will allow you to run this game. It gives you its own little screen of dope that it's like, what's the resolution here? No, something like 31,000 by 2,700 or something hertz. I'm like, I'm just gonna say yes and hope for the best, and it ran fine after that. The only random freezes I got were when it does the auto save thing, which we'll talk about a little later. Beyond that, Fedora 24, 64-bit i7 6700K, GTX 980, 3 chairs.
Yeah, no, one thing to remember going forward, this game is still in beta. You see at the bottom left corner of the main menu, it says the Linux version is still in beta.
Which is made very clear to you after you purchase the game.
Yes. But that said, beta shouldn't mean that the game freezes every 30 minutes and you lose all your progress since the last autosave. Now, you also can set resolution, as Jordan already hinted at, because yes, you get their little teeny tiny screen of nope the first time you launch the game, And it's like, yeah, it's 31,000 by 31,000 and however many hertz. It's like, okay, all right. So you click, and, well, if you are okay with the game just playing at whatever resolution it defaults to, sure. But if you're not, well, you're boned because you can't change resolutions at all. And like Ven already mentioned, even though the game does very clearly give you the option to lock the cursor to the window in the options menu, it doesn't work. It just outright ignores it. So for me, on Ubuntu Mate 1604.2, 64-bit with the FX 8370E and the GTX 1080, it gets one chair.
Oh, that's one chair for mixes working. This is a good sign. Ven, what about the shinies?
Shouty and sounds. How does it melt your face off and burn your eye pussies? You know what? I actually think the game looks a bit all right. I mean, it's definitely better than anything from the Total War series. We can all agree on that. You know, it really has that bright fantasy vibe, and that's important when your primary objective is slaughtering people. And on that topic, I would have liked a little bit of gore. Or at least maybe some Gibbs, maybe an option for that, because the murderation in this was just a bit too clean for my taste. And hell, I even liked the background music. I most definitely had that point where I stopped and just had to listen to it. Turned out it was all right. Well done, man. But, you know, on top of that, it does absolutely make with the beeps and the bleeps and the boops while moving your units and attacking. That can be largely ignored. I like the way the game looks. I like the style. I like the sounds, kind of medieval-y things going on. Brings back memories, man. But, you know, it's not perfect. But it's damn close in this category with a solid 3.
I don't know. I think there's a bit of a graphical whiplash thing because the backgrounds all look kind of spritey and like hand-drawn sprites. And the units are these little Unity engine-looking dolls, like little miniatures that you would use in a war game. And I mean, like, it just seems a bit weird. They definitely do pop off the background, but I'm getting a little bit of tonal dissonance here. And I mean, either way, given the scale of this game, you're gonna have to zoom the fuck out, because with the sheer number of units you're dealing with at the maximum zoom, you can't even select most of your stuff. You're not gonna really get a chance to look too closely at your units anyways. Yeah, the background music is there. It's your standard, like, Russian horns and whatever, and it's kind of repetitive and boring. It doesn't really do anything for me. But, I mean, it works. It doesn't look awful. It kind of still looks like Age of Empires from the early 2000s, so I can't really give it many points. It'll get 2 chairs, though. It's decent.
Well, yeah, the graphics don't look too bad if you bring everything up to 11. But if you do, the performance just tanks. So that's bad. Also, much like Ven, I didn't hate the background music up until the game froze, and that was the only thing apparently still working. So I now associate that music with bad things happening, so that's not a good sign. So for me, it gets 2 chairs.
Oh, another point. Interestingly enough, this game pulls the Serious Sam Crow Team engine. The Serious Engine thing. It picks an audio device, and it fucking sticks to it. You cannot change that after the fact. Anyways, that's 2 chairs for the shiny and sounds. Up next is the controls. Ven, could you Wazd?
I don't know. I need to research the history of why this isn't, or why this is a thing, using the arrow keys for panning instead of Wazd. But you know what? I said, maybe I can learn. Maybe I can get used to it. I can adapt. I'm not old. That's a lie. Here's the dice, man. This is a learning experience because, you know, play panning with the arrow keys, so this arm was constantly over here with the gerbil over here, and all that. New experience. I unlocked an achievement. It caused this fucking arm organ to just go numb. I don't know if it pinched a nerve with that movement and all that. Outside of that, everything worked when the game was working. You have your basic control groups, you know, hold down control 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to assign them to. Nothing new to report there. Zoom in, zoom out. I would be panning with the gerbil, but again, it won't capture input on my X screen, primary X screen, so couldn't use that. I mean, I could use it in all directions but one, so that was a bit way too fucky to risk. Yeah, yeah, nothing really new. I think everything was reasonably logically laid out. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, those arrow keys. You made my arm organ go numb, man. Boo on you, but you still get 2 chairs because everything technically worked.
Oh yeah, this is standard RTS fare with a twist. Normally the reason they don't let you pan and whatever with laws is because those are actually devoted to all the unit and building hotkeys. But in this case, all the hotkeys are everywhere, and it's not even, oh yeah, you need to just punch in the first letter because that's the hotkey for the unit. It just makes no fucking sense. I had no idea what the hell was going on. I just had to use a mouse to click things because there's no way I was going to learn that. Beyond that, everything worked. I don't know. I'm not great at real-time strategy games, so I'm probably not the best person to ask about the various control schemes and whatnot. So I gotta give it 2 chairs.
Well, let's just say no rebindable controls in 2017 means you get 2 chairs dinged right out of the box. Now that said, I didn't actually mind, and I believe I made this point with Dawn of War 3 a couple of weeks back, or last week, or whatever we threw chairs at it. I forget. But yeah, if you don't give people a chance to remap their keys, that gets you ding chairs. It's fundamental core functionality of a game. If you don't have it, you suck. So 2 chairs.
All right, well, Pedro's done sucking. We get 2 chairs for control. Let's wrap this up. Ben, did you have fun playing Cossacks? Should we get Solid Stone?
No, man. He's on vacation. I managed to finish the tutorial, surprisingly, and start the first real bit of the campaign. This is basically where the random freezing got real, son. Because there's nothing, and I do mean nothing, like taking 20 minutes and building up your business for a siege, only to have the game freeze and say, fuck you, because that's why. Yeah, up until that point, I was really liking how the game was progressing. I like building shit and stuff like that. It's like Minecraft for minus the autism. It's kind of brilliant. And you know, the game lets you learn, especially. I just got just a little bit of taste of the first real campaign of, okay, figure this out, go do the sieging. It just completely let me get slaughtered to death. And it kind of didn't telegraph it, but it was like, you see where you fucked up? And I was like, yeah, I see where I fucked up. I absolutely do, game. I'm going to sort this on my second attempt. How fucking ever? I spent those 20 minutes managing the construction of a metric ton of cannons from 3 different smiths and got them rolled out, organized, took out the first fort, and you guessed it. You guessed it, Brad. It froze. And I quit right then and there. With no small amount of grr. No small amount whatsoever. Not so much about the crash itself, I have to say, but the simple fact that up until that point, I was rather enjoying myself. I was having a good time. And it wouldn't let me have a good time. And that just really pisses me off at the end, because there's a fun game, a game I would probably enjoy behind this crash fest. And it can give you PTSD with the save games, as Jordan pointed out, because it just, when it does a autosave, it randomly sits and freezes for like a 2-second, you're like, is it coming back? And it comes back. I'm going to be more generous than these two. I really want to give it 2 chairs with an asteroid saying, fix your shit, then call me girlfriend.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the freezes that these guys got, as I said, but oh man, that autosave really gets you paranoid once you hear about them. It's like, oh, did something fuck up? No, it's just saving. Which gets really annoying because you're like in the middle of doing something, coordinating, and then, oh, hey, autosave. But honestly, this seems like another 0AD style real-time strategy game. I don't really have anything against them. They try to like run the fine balance between doing like 4X, where you can do the diplomacy and the economy stuff as well as the combat. But it doesn't do anything for me, because ultimately what it boils down to is it still expects you to go engage in that real-time strategy combat, which involves you micromanaging a bunch of squadrons and units and whatnot. And I just dislike it. This is still a combat-driven RTS. And once you get to like micromanaging units on large scale combat. You lost me. There's some neat stuff in here though, because like you can load guys up on ferries and like sneak into bases, and it's quite broad how you can approach problems. I've finished the tutorial in about an hour because it takes its sweet ass time. And once you go into like one of the first campaigns, it's like the second or third one after the tutorial, because there's like a holiday bonus thing that came with our version. It doesn't matter. Anyways, it'll do this thing where like it'll spawn random enemies in random places, and I actually went and scouted the entire map. Oh hey, no, there's another way these guys can attack me. Poof! Here they are. They're just gonna come killing me. So I admittedly save scummed and set some people up for where they're gonna appear, because fuck that noise and fuck this game. One chair.
You know, as much as RTS games bore me to tears, there have been several exceptions over the years. The first one that I can remember that I really enjoyed was the RTS-iest of RTS games, Age of Empires 2. Yeah, you remember Age of Empires 2, back when Microsoft Studios was still a game development house, yes. And Cossacks 3, for those 30 minutes it would let me play at a time, it managed to capture that same style of play, and honestly, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. Which makes it all the worse when it did freeze and the frustration kicked in. I don't play games to be frustrated, which is probably why I'm not going to continue playing Hyperlight Drifter on stream, but that's not what we're here for. Cossacks 3, keeping in mind that it is a beta, doesn't hold up to even its incomplete status, because it's not incomplete, it's broken. And broken means one chair.
Alright, well that's one chair for fun. We tally all that up. And unfortunately, the glorious Cossack Republic only gets one chair out of 4. Sorry guys, you got any final thoughts aside from fixer crashes?
Yeah, you gotta fix your crashes, because definitely, for fuck's sake, man, I mean, it's stable on Fedora. You have genuinely screwed something up in this game. Pedro and I, myself, we're running the Ubuntu's, not willingly, either of us. It's just a crash fest, man. And one thing I decided, because the developer contacted us, like, hey, would you mind doing some QA and all this? We just did it for you, for free, but we got a little something out of it as well. This video. And I didn't feel bad about it, because the only thing that indicates that this isn't beta or any form like that is 2 little lines of mice type in the lower left-hand corner of this game once you launch it. And yeah, that's the thing. You got a good game. Fix your shit, and we'll get back to it.
Yeah, and it is something that looks like it could be a really fun RTS, and I'm not exactly the RTS kind of player, but it just tickles the right side of my brain. It's like, yep, this is like playing Age of Empires 2. That's a game I enjoyed a lot back in the day. So yeah, it needs to be fixed, and they say that the new engine is so lightweight that people even with low-end systems could run it.
Like ass.
That's a funny joke, because yeah, no, you need to fix it.
I think it crashes equally on low-end systems and high-end systems, though. So it's lightweight in that regards. There's no real advice I can give you to make this game better, other than don't make it a real-time strategy game, because that's just not what appeals to me. It looks like you have a decent core here, but I'd like to see like some more economics-driven stuff. But again, all my suggestions are just make a new game. So
just one more thing. There is a series of games I would like to see brought to Linux from GSC Game World, and Cossacks not one of them. Stalker. Bring him. Gimme.
That would actually be decent, because I bought the Stalker Complete Pack years ago. It'd be nice to have those games run under Linux.